Exactly. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the public lectures with Mr. Ahmed Mohamed, PhD, the Assistant Professors of the Maldives National University. And today we'll be talking about self-leadership during your academic journey. First of all, I'd like to also welcome the speakers, Mr. Ahmed Mohamed, PhD. Thank you for your time attending for these public lectures. We also have to welcome our heads of MA, Dr. Tati, and our beloved lecturers. Welcome to our public lecture today. And also for all my fans and students in Faculty of Education and other Faculty of Educations, welcome to our public lecture today. I also have to thank you very much for Nina for organizing these events for public lectures. And I'm sure after seeing the topic today, this is really important for us to understand more the strategies, how to cope with the obstacles, and also the strategy how to make more effective in our academic journey. So with that, I'm going to a little bit introduce our moderator, our speaker today. Dr. Ahmed Mohamed is currently working as an assistant professor at the Maldives National University. He is also a postdoctoral research fellow in Chulalongkorn University. And his academic qualifications in 2004, he graduated Diploma of Teaching Secondary in Maldives College of Higher Education. And at the same college, he also graduated for his Bachelor of Teaching Secondary, majoring biology and chemistry. And in 2011, Master of Educational Management in University of Malaya, Malaysia. And at the same university, he studied Doctor of Philosophy or PhD at the same university, University of Malaya. And awarding and recognitions, and I've noted some of outstanding awardings and awards got by Mr. Ahmed. And in 2018, 2019, and also 2022, and he got best paper and oral presentation in some international conferences, outstanding and inspiring achievements. And also in 2022, he got an award from President's Award on achieving an outstanding accomplishment in attaining the highest academic qualification as PhD at the time. For honors or research expertise, maybe this is also important to be known, in educational leadership and management, educational policy, inclusive educations, teacher education, professional learning and development, school effectiveness and empowerment. And for more detail, you can also check his Google Scholar accounts to find more areas and also research expertise from Dr. Ahmed Mohamed. Okay, without any further ado, in today's public lecture, there will be two sessions, presentation given by the speakers. And after the presentation, of course, we have Q&A to give reflection, also questions about our topic today. So please welcome to Dr. Ahmed Mohamed, PhD. The floor is yours.
It's going to be really difficult to talk while sitting in a chair. So, okay. And very beautiful day to everyone of you. And assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon to our moderator as well as all the faculty, staff members, as well as the postgraduate students of this beautiful university. This is really a great opportunity for me to share some of my thoughts and also some of my experiences, as well as some of the really mind-provoking tips with you during this session. And I hope that it's going to be helpful for every one of us. That's why I title this session as Gearing Up Our Academic Journey. Not your academic journey, but including myself as well, and including everyone. So it's going to be more of an inclusive approach where we all need to practice this self leadership. And when you look at the picture here, probably
Yes?
when you look at the
Oh, I said that this thing.
when you look at the picture here, this is one of the picture I took a couple of months ago in Bangkok, because I have been residing in Thailand for like last 6 months. And why this picture is so important and so relevant to put here in this session, or in this along with this title? Why do you think so? This can be a more an interactive one. Oh, mirroring, right? Okay, not exactly the tick mark there or the Nike slogan, but it's all about the self-reflection, because it's a reflection of myself that I got when I took the picture. So it's a mirror image actually. It's not the real picture of myself. It's a mirror one. Why this is so important? Because self leadership is very much linked with self reflection. We need continuous self reflection throughout our academic journey. And this is very much related with the self leadership. All right. So when you look at this picture here, what do you understand? Speed meter of a car. Okay. I will try to link several things with driving a car when I go along with the session. But we all are here today, and you all came here on time because of your self leadership. You drive, or you drove yourself to this room because you have an intention with you. It's going to be very different. The intention might be very different, but you have an intention, and then you drove yourself to this room, and we all are here because of our uh, self leadership. And during this talk, I'm going to look into what is self leadership and how to build self leadership, as well as in a game of self leadership, and some of the key pillars of self leadership as well. And finally, I'll come to the conclusion with a key message. When we talk about the self leadership, this is how it is defined by the gurus of uh, self leadership. Some people, they define it as an ability to lead ourselves or lead yourselves. But the Brand and Kazan, they define it as a practice that we do intentionally in order to achieve our goals and objectives. So it is more like a practice. It's a practice, but a practice that we do intentionally, not unintentionally. And there's one key element in this definition, that is to achieve our objectives or our goals in our life. So in this case, when we are in an academic journey, we have several goals that we want to achieve in order to fulfill our dreams. So at the moment, you have a lot of goals, We all have a lot of goals to be achieved, and then we need this kind of a leadership to drive ourselves to achieve the goals. So the concept of self-leadership first emerged in 1980s, probably in 1983. And then the founder, or the person who used this concept first time, he defined it as a comprehensive self-influence. So he used the terminology like self-influence perspective that concerns leading ourselves and ourselves mostly. And then after that, a lot of different other authors, they talk about this concept. And then even the very recent work, you can find the recent work from the Andrew, this book. So I'm going to conceptualize the whole talk based on this very small book. I have read this book several times. Whenever I want to refresh my own self-leadership, I used to read this one. So basically, uh, my talk is very much based on the key concepts and also the 7 different mindsets that he proposed in this book. So when we look into the examples of self-leadership from different perspectives, for example, as a PhD, during your PhD journey, or during your postgraduate journey, or during our academic career, there are several things that we can reflect on. For example, your PhD supervisor or master supervisor says you are not submitting your chapters according to the timelines, made a deadline for you to submit your next chapter. And also, like the self-leader sees you are not following the due dates, because this is what your supervisor uh, did for you. But if you are a self-leader, what you have to do is, or what we have to do is, we see is that we are not following the deadlines or the due dates, so that we keep the track of tasks and deadlines by our own. So this is how it is different. Because in self-leadership, your supervisor is not going to be the one who is going to drive your academic journey. You should take the sole responsibility of driving your academic journey. And then you become a self-leader, and then you need to recognize all the different hiccups and all these things, and then you need to bring your own plan and then lead your journey. So for example, if we as academicians, like your department head or our department head, says to us that you haven't published a paper last year and you need to publish 2 papers this year to achieve your KPI, then this is not the way that the self-leaders move. So how it is different? If it is a self-leader, or if we or if you are a self-leader, so the self-leader sees your academic publishing has decreased during the couple of years, and then we devises our own plan to write and publish papers. So we need to recognize whenever there is a shortage, and then when there is a time for us to uh, perform much better compared to before. So these are a couple of examples that I wanted to share with you. And then this is also one of the pictures I took very recently when I was flying from Maldives to Thailand last month. And then what do you see from here? What do you see? An oxygen mask. And then when you are on board to a flight, I'm sure that every time you will hear this announcement from the cabin crew. What is that announcement? Sorry. In the unlikely event of a sudden loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop down from the panel above your head. Secure your own mask before helping others, including your children. Before attending your own children, you have to put your own mask. Is it? So I'm sure that you never miss hearing this announcement in a flight. How this is so relevant to the self-leadership. Can you think of why it is so relevant to this concept? Why? You can give answer. It is so relevant because in self-leadership, you need to lead yourself first before you lead others. So you need to take care of yourself before you take care of others. And then you have to be very well prepared to help others. This is the reason why you need to wear your own mask before you attend others. So self-leadership is very crucial and important one for the personal development. Not only the personal development, but for the leadership development as well. Because we try to develop leaders as well. And each one of you are a leader, and also you are going to be a leader in the future. So in that case, this is really important for the personal development, for the personal growth, as well as for the leadership development, and also for achieving the future goals as well. So the self-leadership is one of the very important approach essential to prioritize our well-being as well. So this is how, again, it's related to the concept oxygen mask on a plane. We need to take the we need to prioritize our well-being in a self-leadership concept. So this is exactly what I want to say in relation to the one that I mentioned about the mask. You can't lead others until you lead yourself. So first of all, we need to lead ourselves. We need to lead ourselves. And then this is the reason why I'm going to link the oxygen mask on a plane to the self-leadership in our academic journey and how we are going to gear up our academic journey. And then when we talk about this important concept, we also need to know how to build by understanding the concept. It's not enough. We need to understand how to build self-leadership. And then in this book, the authors mention 7 different mindsets. And I believe that this is because the self-leadership mindset itself is so important to lead ourselves in our academic journey. So under this topic or under this title, I'll be looking at different strategies and also different mindsets that we need to cultivate in ourselves. Looking at that, I mentioned that leadership mindset is really important. So if we want to lead our academic journey or our professional journey, we need a shift from the old mindset to the new mindset. So we need this shift. And how many of you really think of changing what you are doing now? And how many of you want to see a different change or different result or different outcome in your life or in your academic career? In that case, the very first thing you need to do is you need to, or we need to change our mindset from the old mindset to the new mindset. This is going to be a transformative shift from the old to the new. So look at this one. The very first mindset mentioned in this book, it is the own it. What does it mean? Own it. Because if you look at these two areas, on your thoughts and on your feelings, these are very fundamental two aspects of human being. On your thinking, on your feelings. We need to own it. Uh, how many of you probably thinking about something now? Are you thinking about something? No? And who owns that thinking? Yes, ourselves, right? So I'm not the owner of your thinking. I'm not the owner of your feelings, and you are not the owner of my thinking. So this is really a very fundamental two aspects of the human being: on your thinking, on your feelings. So if you look at the first aspect, you have to monitor your thoughts. Otherwise, you're not going to own it. For example, if you look at this one, looking at giving a presentation in your classroom, and then you feel nervous, and then you think you are not going to really make it happen in the class, or some of those kind of things. For example, like, I'm not going to do this, and I'm going to tank when I'm going to give a presentation in my class, or in a job interview, probably. So who owns this thinking? You owns it. And then if you are a self leader, you need to change this mindset. This is the very initial step that you need to engage in. So you should tell to yourself, not this one. You should not talk about all these negative thinking. You should not carry all these different heavy baggage with you. But you need to understand that I know my stuff. I know my stuff. I'm going to deliver a wonderful presentation tomorrow in my class. I'm going to do an excellent one in my next job interview. So this is what your own thinking should be. So who craft this thinking? Ourselves. And then who owns it? Ourselves. If you craft it very negatively, it's really going to be hard to yourself. And then not healthy for us. So in that case, we need to craft our own thinking very positively. And then probably you may say that, okay, how you need to ask these kind of questions to yourself in such situations. Like, how can I best prepare for maximum influence in my job interview or in my next assessment or during my viva? How can I do this? So you need to ask, and then you need to strategize your actions. But the very first thing is you need to own it. So it's not only the thinking alone, but the emotions as well. The feelings are really important. For example, how many of us said this in our lives? He makes me frustrated. She makes me frustrated. He makes me angry. How many of you said this to ourselves or in presence of someone else? That is all related with our own feelings. And then we need to own it because we should not be like captivated by someone else. We should drive our own car. We should not be at the back seat of a car. We should need to move to the driver seat, and we'll talk about that. So who owns what you think? Who owns what you feel? This is something we need to talk when we talk about the self-leadership. The second one is choosing to think effectively. So probably you have a lot of thinking, you have a lot of feelings with you, but you have to choose out of those different thinkings. So if you look at this one, we are living in a world of stimulus response. How many of you are very eager to respond to our emails? And not the emails, probably the social media notifications that we receive every time, very often to our phones. Or somebody wrote something in the social media and then probably you are very hurried to respond it. So we are living in a world of stimulus response. And then, like, how fast you are going to react to that message, how fast you are going to react to that stimulus. That is something that we need to break. We need to break that habit. Even whenever we hear something about us or something about our community, it's not very important to react to that one instantly. Rather, we need to break that habit, and then we need to respond with a very good thought process after spending time and thinking about that. So think of a time when you feel triggered. Just think about it. Think about one incident or one time where you feel triggered either positively or negatively. Think of a time. I'll give you like 30 seconds for you to think. What was the time in my life I was like feel that much triggered? Maybe the time that you got to your assignment marks, or the time that your spouse criticized something, maybe. So think of whether it's going to be positive or negative. For example, if you look at a number of different cases, like when we acknowledge of our performance, definitely we are going to be really triggered positively. But when your supervisor or when your lecturer gave a very low marks, it's again sometimes going to be triggered very negatively. But in each and every instance, you don't have to like respond very fastly or instantly. You need to ask a couple of questions, and then you need a more positive mindset in that case. And then this is the time that you need to experience curiosity. Why did it happen to me? Why did it happen to me? Why my wife criticized about something? Why my supervisor didn't like the work that I submitted? Ask this question, why? Why question? I wonder why he or she did it, and rather he made me angry. So you need to think of this way. And then we can use a couple of different because thoughts, and then we need to choose our own thinking. And then this is the time where we really own our thinking. And then always you should have this mindset. We should be very curious to know why that happened to me, rather than just making a judgment. He or she is angry with me, or he or she uh, blah blah blah. Rather than saying or thinking about such kind of things, we should always look into, we must be curious about knowing why this happened. So together with the first and second mindsets, we come to a conclusion that it is the intention. Because once we own our thinking, and once we choose our thoughts wisely, this is the time where we are going to make intention. This is going to lead to intentions. So intention is all about the why. Why something happened. So this precedes any purposeful action, or we call like behaviors. So always the intention would really lead to the behavior. And then the intention is something we call like inner narrative, where we use this word about why achieving an objective is important. And then this would really drive yourself to a better destination, and also would really make you a better version of yourself, or better version of ourselves. And then if you look at the whole thing, the intention is actually an intention. It would really lead to an intentional action. Therefore, we need to have a purpose. We all dream, right? We all dream. And then we have a purpose in our lives. We have a purpose in this academic journey. Can you think of your purpose? Can you think of your purpose in this academic journey? What is it? Why you are here? Why you chose to do master's degree or PhD degree? Oh, why we chose to do something? Definitely there's going to be a purpose in behind every action of us, right? So this intention is something that we have to craft intentionally, not unintentionally. We need to define our purpose intentionally. And then following the purpose, we need to come up with number of different goals. And then these goals would really going to help you to achieve your objective. So going back to the definition of self-leadership. Self-leadership is the practices that you do intentionally to achieve the goals, right? So from this point of view, we need to understand that the intention itself provides us motivation. That really gives us an internal motivation or intrinsic motivation, not an extrinsic, but an intrinsic motivation. And also, this intention would really direct us to achieve our goals. So it's a direction of our lives, it's a motivation for us. It's really a wonderful thing. So we need to have an intention in our academic journey. So along with this, when we talk about the purpose or the goals or what we want to achieve, we need to cultivate a sense of purpose within us. So if looking at my own academic journey, when I was a when I was in the school system in primary grades, we used to play schooling at our home. And then we also used to conduct assemblies. And then we also host flag as well. And then I really wanted to be an educator during my primary education time. But when I moved to secondary, I wanted to be a medical doctor. So when I completed my secondary education, I wanted to be a medical doctor. But unfortunately, because of so many reasons, I couldn't make it happen. And then I went back to my childhood dream of being an educator again. And then I did my diploma of teaching and also the bachelor of teaching, and then I started my professional career as a teacher. I had a purpose even that time. But at the meantime, I also had I had a dream. So this dream actually helped me to cultivate the sense of purpose for me, and then came up with different goals. But see, when I was in my first degree, I was not thinking to do my master's at that time. Probably it's going to be a short-term goal for me, maybe after a couple of years. But during my first degree, after being a teacher in the school, and then when I started first degree, I made a decision to do a PhD. It was in 2008, but during my undergraduate time, because I need to look for the future, and then probably it was something related with my dream, and then I was crafting that. And also when I started to do my master's degree on educational leadership, as I was dreaming to become an educator, and especially not an educator, someone who runs a school, because we were like playing in our childhood, we were like playing, um, running a school in our home. So I decided to probably after completing the master's degree, we had to serve as a school principal. So, and together with Dr. Vishal, we embarked this journey of master's degree at and then we completed our master's degree, and both of us became our principals. But during my master's time, again, I made a decision to become an academician. But probably I know that after completing my master's degree, I'm going to serve as a principal of a government school. But I was having this hope to join the academia one day. And then I started, during my master's degree, I started to attend conferences. I started to attend conferences and explore the academia and also the academic life. And after serving as a school principal for more than 5 years, then I went to do the PhD. But when I went to do the PhD, doing PhD was one of my goal, but it was not my dream. My dream was, again, bigger than that. And even now, the dream is bigger than that. Not completing a PhD. Unfortunately, I couldn't become a medical doctor. But now I'm in the academia, and then, yeah, called as a doctor, but not a medical doctor. So even if we go along with our academic career or professional career or whatever career we choose, we must engage in continuous learning for our own growth. This is what we call the lifelong learning. So in the academic journey, we should not stop learning. See, even now, I used to attend a lot of webinars. I think every month I used to attend more than 5 different webinars. And also I used to attend different workshops. When I was a PhD student, I think I attended more than 30 different uh, different workshops. And most of the workshops are like physical workshops. More than 30 or 50. I probably don't remember the number. But at this point, I have attended and presented papers in more than 35 conferences, and most of the conferences are international conferences. The purpose of attending a conference is networking, learning, because attending every conference is a new opportunity for me to learn a new thing. So this is what I'm going to mention. Don't stop learning. Whenever you get an opportunity, try to engage in learning. And this is really important when we talk about the self-leadership and in our academic journey. Who tell you to attend conferences? Nobody asked me to attend conferences. I do it because I intentionally want to do that. This is what self-leadership is. No one is going to force you to attend the workshops during your academic journey. Sometimes your supervisor may ask you to attend one of the workshop or couple of workshops, but it is who we need to decide where we want to attend, where we need to go and learn something. Why I came here? Nobody asked me to come here. It was only my inner thought and my inner passion that drive me from Thailand to here. That is all about self-leadership in our academic journey. So when we talk about this, we need to understand we need a growth mindset because we need to grow, and sometimes we need to leave our comfort zone as well. If we want to grow, sometimes we need to go out of our comfort zone and then take risks and then learn something more. And probably it's going to be very helpful for us in our own growth. So, when we talk about the growth mindset, this is where we hijack a fixed mindset. All talks about, I want to avoid mistakes. I will never be that smart. Do you think of these things? Sometimes you shouldn't do that. Like, this is good enough. I give up. This is this is good enough. I don't want to try anymore. Do you think of those things? No, yeah, we shouldn't do that because we own our own, we own our thinking, and then we shouldn't do that because in fixed mindset, we always try to avoid challenges. We don't want to take quite heavy responsibilities or completing the task that is assigned by your uh, supervisors, or like sometimes we feel that it's too hard to do this. So this is all about the fixed mindset. We need a shift from this fixed mindset to the growth mindset where you always need to embrace challenges and then always learn from feedback because we never fail in our life, our lives. We never fail. And you never fail in your life. You should learn from that incident and then try to get that feedback and go along. So self-leadership uh, is a kind of belief success basically on innate ability to do something, and the growth mindset is something really important for the personal success as well. Um, okay, this is what I mentioned. I presented a speed meter, right? Because I wanted to again, because you drove yourselves to here today, and then I came here because of my intention. You came with your intention to learn something more. And then if you look at the driver of your life, this is one important thing in the self-leadership. Because if you are a passenger, you are always allowing someone or letting someone else to make decisions for you. Nobody is going to. Do you want to be a passenger of your life? Someone allowing someone else to drive your life or your academic journey? No. So you want to move from the back seat to the passenger seat. Am I right? We all want to do that. And then the driver is the one who takes the full responsibility and make decisions that, and also you are going to be being the driver, you are going to be more accountable for your own results as well. So keep asking this question until you get to the core of what drives you. Always ask this question until you are able to go and stand on the core of what drives you. Ask this question: why do you want to be successful? Why do I want to be successful? Ask this question to yourselves: why I want to be successful? And along with that, you should also ask another question: what's really important to me? Because you want to achieve something, you want to be successful in something, And you should know why it is so important to you. Because if you really want to achieve something which is really important to you, then you would definitely drive your own life and own journey. So always try to identify these two things, and probably it would help you to uh, go and achieve your destination. So this is a model proposed by uh, the author of this book, and he proposed that intention is really connected with these three concepts: the self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-efficacy. So this is the inner game of the self-leadership. So this is the inner game. And if you look at the influence and impact, this is the outer game. Or this is what we call the inner game, is more of the self-leadership mindset. This is the mindset. But this is the action that you take after um, building this mindset. So after building the mindset with these three concepts along with the intention, and then you would definitely go into the outer game. So I'm not going into the details of that, but self-awareness is one of the key area in self-leadership, because you need to be aware of yourselves. And then if you look at that, the self-leadership is actually emerge from the self-awareness. Once you try to self-aware or engage in self-awareness, and then probably it will help you to uh, develop several skills of self-leadership. So if you look at the two facets of the self-leadership that is on our mind and also at the back of our mind, but probably I'm going to look into this part, what is at the back of the mind. Because at the front, or on the mind, we have like images and several other kind of things. But if you look at the back of our mind, it's more about different values and intentions, purpose, and our motivation, and all these things that drive us to our drive us to achieve our goals. And then there are a lot of situations where we need to set back and think and self-aware. Because if you engage in self-awareness, you're getting a balcony view of yourself. You're going to know the strengths of you. You're going to know the weaknesses of you, where it is going to be really helpful. So that if you look at this one, this is one of the technique used in improving our self-awareness, where you need to understand what are your values. So because each one of us have values that we prefer to have in our lives, or and after that you need to understand what are your interests. If you don't know your interests, what is your interest? Ask this question. If you don't interest in doing something, I'm sure that you are not going to be really motivated to do that. So in that case, understanding the interest and also understanding your own personality, you need to reflect on that. What is your attitude? What is your own personality? After the values, after your interests, you should understand the personality, and then you need to understand what are the abilities. What are the strengths that you have? And then finally, you are going to look into very specific skills that you have. So this is a simple one. Just not going into much details of that, but if you want to engage in self-awareness, you need to understand all these different 5 areas, what we called the Vipas technique. And then along with, after the self-awareness, the fourth mindset is the self-confidence. Because self-confidence is not like, not something probably you understand when you go into this room or into a big audience where you believe that you are the smartest person in the room. It's not like having that perception, but it is more broader than that. And actually, it is not the self-intention in that case. It's not the self-confidence in that case. But the self-confidence is more of walking in and out and having to compare yourself to not having compare yourself to anyone at all. So during our academic career, one of the key important thing to build our self-confidence is not to compare myself with my friend, not to compare myself with my colleague, because we all are unique. We all are different. Our strengths are different. Our challenges are different. And we all have unique personality. We have our own values. We have our own interests. We have our own skills, and all those different areas I mentioned in the self-awareness are going to be different. So don't compare. This is something really important when you want to increase or improve your self-confidence. If you start to compare, what is going to happen? Your confidence level would decrease. Then probably you may think of all those negative things when you start to compare. So avoid that. That's why it says in self-confidence, there's nothing to compare with others, but we need to improve ourselves, right? We need to improve ourselves. That is what we need to do. So the self-confidence comes from knowing your capacity and strengths. So you need to understand your strengths, your abilities, your skills, all these things before that. When you try to understand when you try to aware yourself. So during the self-awareness stage, you need to understand that. And during the self-confidence, one of the important practice is self-reflection. Always try to reflect on what you are doing. Reflect on the last assignment that you did. Reflect on last presentation you did. Reflect on anything that you did recently and try to improve it. And reflection is, that's the reason why I mentioned reflection is the key. Going a little bit far, so when you are confident enough, you should always tell that I am the master of myself. I'm not the master of you. I'm not the master of the other person. I'm the master of myself. I'm the master of my thesis. I'm the master of my dissertation, not my supervisor, not my parents, not my spouse. I am the master of my academic work. So always believe in that. And then you probably know this person. Who is that? Nelson Mandela. And he had a struggle for, I think, more than 20 years, 27 years old. But he had that confidence because he engaged in all those things, self-reflection. He had a purpose, he had an intention, he know what he's going to do, and then with all the challenges, still he has that fate. So I am the master of my fate, and I'm the captain of my soul. I'm the captain of my life, not someone else. So this is self leadership mindset. The fifth one is the self efficacy. So if you look at the self efficacy, this is the belief that what comes to your way, you can handle it. When your supervisor asks you to moderate this session, you should handle it. When your lecturer asks you to do something in the absence of he or she, you should handle things. When your parents ask to take a responsibility of something at your home, you need to handle it. And then, but for that, uh, we need all those things. We need self confidence. We need the skills. We need all those things. Then only you can really engage in the beautiful self efficacy. So we can take always remember in self efficacy, always take the feedback. Always take the feedback from your supervisor, from your lecturers, and then accept it. Because they are giving feedback for improvement. So take it and accept it, listen to the feedback, accept it, but that's not the end of the day. You need to do is you need to adjust what you are doing, you need to make changes, and then after that you need to perform it. Perform it again, which means you need to advance it based on the feedback. So once you receive the feedback, you need to accept, you need to adjust, and then you need to advance it. This is what we call the self efficacy. So in the process of self efficacy, you need to engage in these four different things: feedback, accept, adjust, and advance. This will definitely create positive results, which will lead to reinforce self confidence. Finally, it's going to take the ownership of the result that you get. So I believe this is also bit enough, but let's move to this slide. This is something related with self-efficacy, where you need to understand that number of uh, 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 very often, even myself, when I was doing my PhD, I was delaying some of my work because I wanted to make it perfect. Even during my PhD, I was having this kind of thinking to make it perfect. But believe me, uh, this delayed perfection is not really something helpful. We should always engage in continuous improvement, and this is much more better than delayed perfection where you cannot complete number of things. So even this is one of the lesson I learned. The delayed perfection is not helpful to achieve our goals, and we need continuous improvement. And at the meantime, in self-efficacy, there's no failure. There's no failure. We only have this feedback for improvement. So don't believe, even if you get a low marks in the assignment, or like uh, 5 pages feedback for 5 pages assignment is not a failure. It is a feedback for your improvement. This is the mindset we need to have during our academic journey. And then we should develop a do it attitude and also habit. There are a number of things that we can talk about the habit. One is like consistency. The consistency is not like doing things at the same rate, at same level every day. It's not consistency, but consistency is engaging that task like every day, but not at the same level. Because you studied today for 5 hours, and then the next day you may engage in 1 hour or like 2 hours. But the consistency is you keep doing small things every day rather than skipping like 1 week. Sometimes the PhD students or master students, they never look into uh, I, I, I'm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, if you have a question, I think I'll give you a chance after this slide, and then I will cover the rest of the sessions. I mean the slides. So the self, if you are the self leader, because self leader does not say this, I will get good and then I will be confident. But rather than that, the self leader will always say, I will take action and build my confidence. So now I have talked about the self awareness, self confidence, and then the self efficacy. These are the three elements in the inner game of the self leadership. So I will talk a little bit about the two other mindset, which is the influence and also the impact, 6 and 7. So if you have a question, I think it's most welcome.
Any sessions for those who want to ask questions, just raise your hand and mention your name and where you come from or what faculty do you. Okay, start from on the left side. Let me have you.
Okay, thank you. A very interesting discussion today. So, my name is Susila. I'm a student in Faculty of Economics and Business, Triple IU. So, I think it's really great discussion with you, sir, because as you mentioned before, like we have to change our mindset for everything. For example, in academic journey. But as we know that several problems in self leadership during an academic journey. For example, like lack of motivation and also time management issues, and last like inconsistent study habits. So the first question is, how can I manage my time and prioritize tasks during my academic journey to ensure maximum productivity and avoid feeling overwhelmed? So the next question is, like insecurity. As you know that the problem of insecurity refers to like of the like maybe like insecure, like sometimes we don't believe with ourselves, and how do we believe in ourselves to maximize in our potential in our academic journey? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For the last question, I'll start with the last question. So in that case, you need to uh, identify your intention. And then you need to own your thinking first. You need to uh, cultivate the sense of the purpose. And then I think probably it's going to be really helpful when you go along with the other steps. So always try to own your thinking and have a very positive, like the can attitude. With that, you can go forward. And for the time management one, there are different techniques. that people use for the time management during the academic journey. Some people, they prioritize all the different big tasks and urgent tasks to be completed. And then you need to, even some people, they try to keep the to-do list as well, to-do list, and then try to finish those ones at the top and then go to the next. And another one is, another strategy is like focusing on one important thing at a time. But even myself, I also engage in a lot of multitasking many times, but it's not really healthy. It's not really healthy. We need to complete something first and then move to the next. And then I think it's going to be a more effective way of completing. Otherwise, if we engage in, or if we want to complete 3 things at the same time and failing to complete all 3, it's going to be again not something helpful to achieve the goals, right? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. My name is Maulana. I'm from Faculty of Education. When we talk about self-leadership, it's really close relation with the motivation, especially when we essentially want to achieve our goals. My question is, how do we have stable motivation in achieving our goals? Because sometimes we have a little free time. For myself, I usually said, okay, you can do it later. So how to have the stable motivation to be on fire every time?
For that, you need to ask the question, why do you want to achieve that? Why do you want to achieve that? Whether it is really important to you. If you really want to achieve something in your life, that purpose, that dream, that would really motivate yourself. So first try to identify what is your inner thought and the intention to achieve that. And then probably, for example, if you really want to buy a car, and then you know it costs like thousands and thousands of dollars to buy that, and if you really want to buy that car, probably I believe that you would hard work enough to save money to buy that. But you need to have a purpose to buy that car, and also you need to understand why it is important to buy that car. So you need to craft and own your thinking. Then probably, but along the way, you need to engage in your self awareness. You need to build the self confidence and all these things. So this is the self leadership. It holds so many different areas, and it's an inclusive one. It's a holistic approach that would really help you to achieve. So I think I hope I answered that question.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, 1 or 2 more questions. Okay, okay, on the back.
Okay.
Thank you, Doctor. I am Karamosise. I'm a student, third batch. I think this discussion is very much insightful because I learned a lot. Especially, I will quote from you that we are in a society of response stimulus at the moment. And then, as a person, I think I'm a victim of such. Like whenever I see something, I would want to react to some of the issues because I'm very much sensitive. So sometimes, like I don't want to hear fake information or certain information within the society. Even just yesterday, when I was on Facebook trying to read something about my country. I saw this information written about my ministry, about a certain curriculum being introduced. So I was just pinch, like it's kind of a pinch on my heart, and I want to react. So what after for a while I wrote a lengthy essay to reply, but I decided to discard it. I chose to delete everything. So I would want to know what can we one do to sometimes control your emotion or your thoughts with regards to those inter. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. The first thing is you or we need to break the habit of responding too quickly. Even if we see something, take time, set back. Set back, take time, think, and decide whether it's really important to react, whether it is important for the time being, and also think of that, and then after that you can take a wise decision. I think if we break the habit of reacting too quickly for anything, because we are living in a very complex world where we face a lot of different things every day. When you go home, and also when you on the way to your home or in the way to your accommodation, you may see a lot of things. And also we have the Facebook, and then we have thousands and thousands of friends who talk about so many things, and if we want to react to all those things, we won't have enough time to do that. And then in the case, if you want to engage, or in case of like pop-up notifications and all these things, I think one thing you can do is you can switch off or you can turn off the Wi-Fi when you engage in learning, maybe like for 1 hour. But even usually I don't switch or turn off the Wi-Fi, but probably I know that it is one of the effective way, because sometimes we need to keep our phone away, and then it's going to be helpful.
Okay, cool. From ladies, okay, the last questions. Okay, we still have 10 minutes.
My name is Adinda Humaira. I come from Magister of Finance. So, sir, I'm very impressed with your material, because honestly, at the moment, my productivity is decline. So, I noticed your statement about effective thinking. I have a problem with that. I think too much in the middle of the night before going to bed, and I even get stressed out trying so hard to get to sleep. And then this is destroying my productivity. How can I think effectively when this overthinking occurs in the middle of the night? Thank you.
Okay, in the middle of night. Not any other time in the day. The first thing is, I will mention about that in the coming few slides. There are a lot of opportunities. If one door closes, the another door is going to open. So don't be that much stress in your life, because as I mentioned before, there's no failure. See, in my academic journey, I failed in a subject during my undergraduate in the very first semester. It was the day I decided not to fail in any subject in the rest of my academic journey. And then alhamdulillah, I didn't. I failed and I got a resit, and I passed in the resit exam. And it is the day, because I learned from the mistakes. I learned from what I faced, and then I wanted to accept it, adjust it, and then perform it or advance it. So I think that, and in that case, during the midnight, if you have such kind of things, always think that we have a lot of opportunities. If you look at the horizon, if you look at the sky, there's no limit. So always engage in positive thinking. If even if negative thinking comes into your mind during the mid of the night, always think of something positive. Always think of a blessing that you have. Always thinking of a good thing, a blessing, because we have abundance of blessings with us or around us, and we really don't explore these blessings. We always look into the challenges and all these things that we can't do, and then in that case we are going to have that fixed mindset. But we need to move from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset, probably. Let me look into the few slides that I have. The sixth one is the influence, because as I mentioned before, we need to have the influence is actually the result of the intentional action. And also you need to understand one thing, because when we talk about the leadership, we always tell that leadership is influencing others, right? To achieve something, motivating others to achieve something, a goal. But in this case, in self-leadership, we need to motivate ourselves. We need to influence ourselves in order to drive in our journey. So we can positively influence ourselves. And then if in that case, if we can do that, probably it's going to be helpful to facilitate the change for the rest of the world as well. The seventh one, the last one, is the impact. If we look at the impact, this is broader than the influence, because the impact is how the intention, both intention and influence, are measured in the world. How much you impact others. So in the academic journey, if you want to be really an impactful person, the one important thing is make connection, make relationship, and also be a part of the community. You engage in group discussions, collaborate with your classmates, engage in group discussions, and this is the impact. If you know something, please please explain it to your friend. This is the impact. The impact doesn't solely rest in yourself, but it goes beyond yourself and to the another person. For example, Dr. Vishal is a very close friend of mine, and then we really discuss a lot of things. Even during our PhD journey, we really discuss the data analysis, data collection, the approach that we use, and multiple things. See, what we are doing is we are impacting each other. The things that I know, I can tell to him. He can tell what he knows, and then both of us come better versions of us at the end of the day. So this is more about the impacting in your in self-leadership. You need to understand that self-leaders are not selfish. They are not hesitant to share ideas, share learning, and all these things. So self-leadership, in that, self-leaders are not, and they always take part as a community. So if you are a group of like master students or PhD students, probably you should come together and discuss and help your colleague friends. Because if you know something, you explain it tell them, and then help them. This is really impacting. So the personal is to be applauded. This is one quote. But those people who make a difference to others will be really accelerated in the academic journey. So if you help others, you're going to be accelerated much, much faster in your academic journey. And see, even in your during the academic journey, you can do a lot of things to impact. You can attend conferences, connect with people, and then try to publish papers. During my PhD time, I published this paper. But I wrote this paper when I was like a research assistant during my PhD journey, and then presented in a conference. And in that conference, I got the best paper award, and then got the opportunity to publish in a Scopus Index journal. And during like about 5 years, I have received more than 200 citations for this article. More than 200 citations for one paper, which I wrote during my PhD time. And then I believe this is an impact in academic area. This is an impact for others. But during the process, he also did a lot of things. I co-authored this paper with Dr. Bamban as well. See, because he was there when I did my PhD in University of Malaya at that time, but he was not my supervisor. He was a part of this research project. And then I went and helped them as a research assistant during my PhD time. And I too impacted. I mean, I helped to make this impact. So you can go through these 4 pillars of self-leadership in your academic journey. You can look into who we are. I'm just skipping and going fast. So knowing who we are, so you can look into these things, what you believe, what is important, what is your goal, and knowing what you do, your behaviors, your motivations. I think this slide can help to answer most of your questions. And also knowing what you need to learn, identify your learning points, set up a learning plan. If you don't have a plan, make a plan, and then using what you know, build successful habits to support the pillars and create an environment for success. At the end of the day, now you need to ask this question. Are you a victim or a victor?
Okay, sure. We have a class after this, some of students, so our time is up. So
Yeah,
sorry to
okay.
interrupt.
I'm just going to the last slide, and this is my key message. So self-leadership is about being in the driver's seat, not in the back seat. So if you are in the back seat, please come to the driver's seat now. And then living small does not serve the world. So when you want to be the best version of yourself, always try to use this self-leadership. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for Prof. Ahmed. Dr. Ahmed Mohamed, give me the applause for the speakers. Okay, this is the end of our session today. If I can conclude our session today, I just take our quote of the day about your supervisor is not the one who drives your academic journey, but we ourselves who drives our academic journey, and understand about the concept of self-confidence, awareness, and efficacy. And you have to be understand to see or knowing about our strengths and also our weaknesses, so we can be more prepared for our academic journey in our university, the First Islamic International Indonesia. I thanks so much to Mr. Ahmed Mohamed for a very nice and interesting topic. For those who want to know more about the discussion, you can get approach with the speakers. And I think that's all for today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we have to take photos first before we leave the rooms for the documentations. We may move forward. All the participants berdiri aja. Yeah. Come on the back, in the middle. This one also there.